Hey, church. Hey, I want to tell you about a conversation that I recently heard online. I was between a Christian pastor and a man who's a non-believer. And this non-believer asked this pastor, what did God really give up? I mean, if you think about it, Jesus was alive, he died, and then he rose back from the dead, and then he goes back up to heaven and has everything that he had before. So what really was the sacrifice for God? And this non-Christian, this guy reflecting with this pastor, he said, really what Jesus gave up was a weekend. I mean, he was dead for just a few days. He rose. He has everything that he had before. So what really was the sacrifice? Was it really just a weekend? Is that all that Jesus gave up? The pastor really didn't know how to respond to this. And granted, you don't always know how to respond when people ask questions right away like that. So I'm not trying to bash the pastor. But Jesus gave up more than just a weekend. In fact, before the Son of God took on humanity, before he was called Jesus, there was more to the story. See, Jesus, Son of God, did not just give up a weekend. He took on a human nature. The greatest sacrifice of Christ is not what he gave up, but in what he took on. He was divine, and he had a divine nature, and he added a human nature. The human nature that is eternally joined with God through Christ. See, what Christ gave up, what he really offers us, is not best seen in what he gives up, but in what he adds on. We often quote the passage in Philippians 2 when we're talking about Christ, when we're talking about what Christ did for us. And in that passage, the NIV at least translates it this way. It says, he made himself nothing. But that's not what the passage says. The passage actually says, he poured himself out. See, what did God give up? Well, it's really what he added. That was the sacrifice. A whole human nature eternally joined with him through Christ, with the divine, to such an extent that we, through Christ, now participate in the divine nature. In 2 Peter chapter 1, we read this, that in Christ we have everything we need for godly living, and in Christ, 2 Peter 1:4, we have become participators of the divine nature. What did Christ give up for us? Perhaps an even better question is, what did he add on for us? He added on what we are, so that we can participate in what he is, the divine. Have a blessed day, church, and may the Lord protect you.